Greetings, Grand Rising, Wagwan. This is your brother Chief, man. What's up? What's up? What's going on, my peoples? I know it's been a minute. I haven't done a live in a minute. I haven't posted anything in a minute, but I'm just on the greasy, man. Working behind the scenes, making some things happen. Sometimes, we got to take some time off and allow silence to, take its course, to get direction, from the ancestors, from the higher self, in regards to moving forward. You know what I mean? But I'm just here to, share some information with y'all. Let me make sure I have audio on Facebook. All right. All right, I got audio on Facebook and give you guys some time to get in. All right. Do me a favor, man. While you check it in, just go ahead and put in the link below or in the description rather, where you listening, where you listening from, where you at, where what's your location, you know what I mean, and where you checking in from, just go ahead, man. Let me show y'all some love. So go ahead and say where you at on the check-in, and I'll definitely shout out your city, shout out your town, shout out your country. All right. If you're not subscribed to the channel on YouTube, do me a favor, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you click that notification bell because for some reason, man, my videos are not reaching the amount of people they used to reach before. And I'm not assuming YouTube has anything to do with it, but I'm not denying that either. All right. So with that being said, what's going on, Billionaire Bit Club? What's up? What's up? What's up, Supreme Health and Wealth? What's going on, Lineage? We got Maryland in the building. All right. That's what's up. We got Florida in the building. Okay. Now, what I'm about to do is I'm going to share a little story with y'all, all right, about a supposed witch. And it will verify and prove once more all the things that I've been teaching all these years. You know what I'm saying? That we are the original people. We are the indigenous people, the Amerindians, the American Indians. I mean, all these different misnomers. Bottom line is we are the original man and woman of the landmass called the Americas. You dig? All right, now we got NYC in the building, OG, what it is, OG in the building. All right, New York. All right, I'm also in New York, so we got to link some time, stand up. All right, so just to let y'all know, all right, I've been like I've said it, man. I've been on this journey for a long time. When I first started doing these videos and telling our people we are the Amerindians, I wasn't using American Indian that much. I was more using Amerindian because, being from the islands, that's what we used. We didn't really use, like once in a while, we would use the term American Indian, but we were more used to using Amerindians because that's what we were taught. We were taught that we were Amerindians. You feel me? But when I first came into the United States, man, and, I'm talking about years and years ago as a teenager, I mean, I didn't start that journey. I started off, basically, telling people, good afternoon and good evening. And people thought that was kind of strange, why, they're looking at me like I'm crazy, but that's just how I was raised. That was the culture, you didn't go anywhere without seeing an elder or somebody in the street without saying hi, you know what I mean? But what prompted me, taking the journey that led me to where I'm at today is, when I had my son, and just always being a good father in my son's life, a stand-up man, doing what I was supposed to. And just because things didn't work out between the mom and I, then I guess, she didn't take lightly to that and went on a rampage to prove that I was a deadbeat father, when that was not the case whatsoever. My son and I, we were very close. And even in the midst of doing all that, I kept my son 3 days a week and also on Sundays, alternating turns. What it is, Amina, what it is, Supreme Rising. But anyway, long story short, I ended up fighting the legal system, fighting the legal system as a father who was prominent in my son's life, doing the right thing. You know what I'm saying? And they wanted to put me on child support, even if I was a good father. I went to court, with bags of receipts, and the judge said, "Listen, man, I could never forget this woman, a Caucasian woman. Her surname is Bauer. I'm not gonna call her, her first name, but when I walked in the court, she's like, she was my baby mama's, because when I walked in, it's me, like me and her, we had beef, you know, and I'm like, well, hey, you know, my son mother said this and said that, but I have my receipts. I got like a bag of receipts to show I'm taking care of my son. The judge looked at me and told me, hey, what you do for your son is a gift, and what the mother do is childcare. So she said, you haven't done anything. You owe her $10,000 right off the bat. And that was my first taste of knowing what type of system that was. And from that day on, going through that battle and fighting and fighting and fighting. And I know a lot of dudes that was actually in that same situation, and they walked away from their children. And I was like, you know, I'm not going to walk away from my son. I'm going to stay and fight, you know, and still be active as a father. And I fought and I fought, and they threatened to take driver's license and send me to jail. I'm like, you know what? Nah, send me to jail. I'll go to jail for being a good father. You know what I'm saying? If that's what you want to do. But I'm not going to conform to you telling me what to do when I know I'm doing what I'm supposed to. So I wasn't paying their child support. They came with their threats and all that. You know, me, young and hot-headed, I came back with my threats and all that. Long story short, in the end of all of this, I had to learn law. I was forced to learn law, how to defend myself in the system. I'm going to keep it real. I didn't like to read. I mean, I knew how to read. I just didn't like to read, because every time I read, I got tired. For some reason, my brain had this, you know, like reading was like a kryptonite. You know what I'm saying? Every time I picked up a book and I read, like, you know, 2 paragraphs, like I was literally falling asleep. And then because of that situation, I had to force myself to not learn, but love how to read, because I had to read law, common law, statutes, codes, and all these things. And I'm telling you, man, I went on a hiatus, and I tell myself, I'm going to study, and study, and study. And I became a beast until the whole situation worked out where I got full custody of my son, and they was begging me to put her on child support. And I was going to do it, but I was like, nah, you know what? I didn't do it because I was going to do it for the wrong reason. Because if I'd done it then, I was doing it just because she had actually put me on child support. You feel me? Even if I was a good father. So that would have been revenge. And that was never my nature. So I didn't do that. You know what I mean? But I'm saying all that to say, that's how my journey started in so-called, what you may call being woke. But I've always been woke, though. I was never asleep, because since at the age of 6, I was never asleep. You know, even when I used to go to church at the age of 6, I knew something was wrong with the building, with the churches, the people. You know, I mean, I knew something wasn't right, but I just couldn't figure it out. And every time I asked questions, oh, well, don't question God. Don't question the Bible. That's what it says. Just do. And even that in itself just didn't make sense. How can you have a father? You tell me he's my father, but I can't question my father. I have to be afraid of my father. That just didn't make sense. You feel me? So I've always had that curious nature. I've always been the one seeking within, you know. And then I would say back in about 2012, you know, I started telling people, listen, man, you know, we ain't black. You know, we are the Americans. That's since 2012. And then I came on the internet, started telling people these things, and people thought I was crazy. And look at where we at right now. A lot of people may not know this or give me the credit for that, but I was one of the first ones, long before all the major ones that are here right now, talking about who we are. I'm not saying they didn't know, but nobody was talking about that on the internet. You know, so I'm saying all that to say is I'm really proud of how far we have come. It looks like we are not making any type of indentation. It looks like we're not going forward, but we are, because you see, it's a spiritual thing. Like I wrote in my book, and I eloquently expressed, the truths about and laid out the truth about who we are and what we have been through and why we're in the situation that we're in. You see, a lot of people don't know the reasons why we are in the situations we're in, but I laid that out in the book, and it's a beautiful read. Not because I wrote it. No, I'm just letting you know, man. It took me 20 years to prepare myself just to write that book. So I know it was ordained by the ancestors, and they led me, and gave me all the information that I needed to bring that book to a reality. And here we are. I wrote that book, Genesis to Reevaluation, I would say probably like 2 years ago, maybe. 2 years ago, I think. And the first one I wrote before that was called Newsflash, Everyone's a Slave Unless. But the Genesis to revaluation is very dear to me because it tells about our story, our heritage, our inheritance, our culture, who we are as a people and who we are not. You feel me? And I'm very proud of the work that was done on that book, to the point where now I have written part 2, 3, and 4. I'm working on 4 right now, the final chapter, which is Revelation. You see what I'm saying? And thus far, within the past 2 years, I've written, that's going to be my 11th book that I've written, because I know whenever this physical body leaves this realm, my work will be a testament. You know what I'm saying? That's how I'm going to live eternally, to teach our people. You dig? You know what I mean? What's going on? Adon and Chief Dat. Respect, respect, respect. So I just wanted to give you guys a little history. You know what I'm saying? On how far I've come. And yes, from the outside looking in, we could always say, man, you know what? We could have been further. And that's true. We could have been. But when you truly know, once again, the reason why we're in the situation that we're in, and you know the truth, you see it for what it is. And that was supposed to be part of the experience, because the first had to become the last. You see what I'm saying? So we had to go through through the transition of being first to descending into being the last. And now we are back on the reascension. And that's why I tell people, at one point, it would have been okay to say that those are you are descended from those people. But now it's not okay to say that, because we are no longer descending, we are ascending. So I always say that I'm an ascendant of my ancestors, because we are moving forward in the upright direction, in the righteous direction. So what you see now, that's why you're seeing all these things are being exposed, because Mother Earth has to purge itself. We're not just in the Aquarius age, or the Aquarian age rather. We're also stepping into the Capricorn age, where we are going to create the heaven on earth, where people have to do self-realization. You're going to see the music change. You're going to see people more, the rappers are going to start, the older rappers are going to start coming out and changing the dynamics of the music. You're going to see trap music and drill music. You're going to see it come to an end. Okay, because we have reached the pinnacle of what I call the degeneration phase, the descending phase. So right now we are on the reverse, or we are at the cusp of the arc, where we are rescending into our ascension. So all those low vibrational ways and entities and all those people, they have to be exposed. They have to be taken down. It's no coincidence, because that's the age that we're in right now. You feel me? So it's a beautiful time to be alive. Much respect, Goddess V. It's a beautiful time to be alive. You may not see the transition because you are not focused, because you are too distracted. You see what I'm saying? You are too distracted by the televisions, by the Kamala Harrises and the Joe Bidens and the Trumps and the Didis and all that. It's a distraction, so that you don't feel the experience, the full glow of the experience that you're supposed to feel, as it were in 2019. Okay, when they had, the term that's equivalent to, the halo of the sun, which is a corona, which means crown. Okay, they prevented you mentally from embracing what the sun was giving you. The sun was giving you your coronation, but they had to distract you from that. You feel me? But they can't stop it. You feel me? They can't stop it. So with that being said, I encourage you to stay focused. Close your mind from all the distractions. Focus on getting yourself right, getting yourself ripe. I've always told you in my teachings that in nature, there's only ripe and green. When things are green, they're not ready. But when they are ripe, you don't even have to climb the tree. They're going to fall into your hands. So now is the ripe time to get yourselves right. If you could make amends with family members and friends, go ahead and do so. Forgive. You will never forget, because that's what memory is. You feel me? It's part of your store bank. You're not going to forget it, but you could forgive it. There's nothing wrong in forgiving. If you cannot make amends with somebody, it's okay. Everybody wasn't meant to be entangled for eternity in the physical realm. However, we cannot escape the wholesomeness of us being one in the spirit realm. We are just blinded by the conscious mind. So we have all these toxic relationships. So work on yourself, because I'll tell you this, for those who cannot work on themselves, they are not going to experience the heaven on earth. You see, earth is not going anywhere. What's going to change is the world. You see, so when any scripture or any biblical text or any religious text, when they speak of the world coming to an end, people are under the impression that the earth is going to come to an end. Now, the earth is not going anywhere. The earth is as much a part of heaven as heaven is a part of the earth. They're intertwined. They're not going anywhere. However, the earth is going to purge out the world. The world is a reality. A reality is a matrix. You feel me? Why is it a reality? Because anytime you take a word and you put the prefix re, R-E, in front of it, it means to do over. So therefore, we lived in a world that had a concept of ality. Ality. All right. But another world had to be created to give us a reality, a reconstruction of ality. That's where the illusion was created, with the reality. Real. You see what I'm saying? So we're stepping back into what we call the earth of ality, where people have to be transparent. They cannot hide themselves anymore. You feel me? They will not be able to lie to you anymore, because everyone has to start giving an account. So going back to the celebrities and the rappers and the entertainers, you'll see the dynamics starting to change, where the most hardcore rappers will start talking about love. We'll start talking about peace, because it's something that's within us that had to sort of like click at a certain time. And the time is nigh. And that's what's happening right now. Greetings, Ivy Ford. You feel me? So that's where we are at. So I encourage you, I implore you to get your heart right, get your mind right. Stop with the hatred, the animosity, the jealousy, the envy. Those are characteristics of the lower self. Some may call it the devil, some may call it Satan. Man, listen, I don't care what word you call it. It exists inside of you. The bottom line is, which one are you going to feed the most? People think Satan or the devil is this entity in a pit of fire. You know what I'm saying? Waiting to making a deal with God. Well, let me take this one, and no, let me take that one. Nah, man, that's an illusion, man. Peace and love, Sister Pam. It's an illusion. Both entities dwell in you. And you have the conscious ability to differentiate between the two of them. That's why you are, I am, we are the most prized manifestation in creation, because we have the discernment. You dig? So now it's time for you, as an entity, as a man, as a woman, to get your heart right. Because what's going to happen is, if you don't, okay, that hellfire they talk about is not something where you're going to be burning a literal fire. However, it's a sensation within yourself that's going to feel like you in hell. It's going to burn you from within out. So you want to experience the heaven on earth. But trust me, we are making our transition to make this thing happen. You dig? All right. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna go ahead and get into the what I was gonna talk about, but I just decided to flow with the spirit, flow with the higher self, and just allow myself to say whatever came out because I didn't want to just censor myself and just strictly stick to the video that I actually set out to do. But now I'm gonna get all right. Once again, just confirmation and verification that we are the original people of this land. All right. And it doesn't matter how the truth is being censored. They are the gatekeepers preventing us from doing certain things, making certain moves. Um, greetings, Sister Latrice. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter what they do. Okay, they can't stop what's meant to happen. All right. We are on the rise because it's our time. Our time has come. You feel me? So, with that being said, I'm going to talk to you about the witches of Salem. See, a lot of people don't know exactly who the witches of Salem were, but the witches of Salem were actually indigenous women, women of color that were being burned for practicing our indigenous cultural, rituals, if I may. You feel me? And they called it evil, they called it voodoo, they called it hoodoo. I mean, whatever names they wanted to call it, and it was called, but they deemed it evil. They deemed it, works of the devil. They deemed it magic. But yet still, they give you a Bible where Moses could turn a rod into a snake with the assistance of the Lord. Moses could take the blood of animals and spray it on people and put it on doorposts with the guidance and the assistance of the Lord. You see, all that stuff is okay. It's not voodoo. It's not magic. You dig? You see, when Moses, take his his rod and turn it into a snake, it was called a miracle. But when our people did it, it's called voodoo. It's called witchcraft. Man, I tell you, man, Sister Diane, what's going on? So you see the hypocrisy. I mean, to this point today, where you even have to drink somebody's blood and eat their body, cannibalism, so that you could get to this heaven that they tell you about. Now, even if it's not in the literal sense, but figuratively speaking, your words have power, and that's what you're doing. It's a curse. It's part of a spell. But nobody's talking about that, though. But our people were persecuted, not realizing the etymology of the word God means to evoke. God is not a noun. God is an action word. It means to invoke, pour libation. So that's what we did. And they didn't know how to take the word or how to sort of like explain it, all of it in one word. So they came up with a word with no origin called God. You dig? But let us get into this. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay? And we're going to read from this from two sources. And I by all means, please do your own research. All right? Because don't believe anything that I say. Because if I tell you believe me, then I'm lying to you, because in the word believe is the word lie. And I do not tell lies. So here we go. We're going to read. Reading is fun for the mental. Here we are. My beloved sister Sharon, Bajan Spice, what's going on? What is what the deal is? My lineage, Rick, what's going on? Yeah. My indigenous brothers and sisters on here. What the deal is? All right. So here we are. So we're gonna read a little bit. Now this particular case I'm gonna tell you about. The sister's name was, Tituba, Indian servant of Miss Samuel. All right. Now we're gonna read this, and we're gonna take our time and read it. All right, because I'm also gonna go to another source. You feel me? And show you a story about the same woman. All right, so let's pay attention. Let us read. And I'm talking about that's in the 60s. We were still being in the 1600s. Okay, that's in 1692. And she was born before that. And we were being called Indians. So I want to know how we came from Africa. But you know, what do I know, right? Let us read. From 1692, Salem witch hunt records, we know Tituba was the Indian servant of Miss Samuel Paris, the minister of Salem village. All right, you hear that, right? Indian servant. So when they talk about slave, you see, they're always associating slave with Africa. You see, that's a trick because the term Africa itself means enslavement. It came from, of course, the Afro people, but then, what's his name? I forgot the name of the gentleman. He took the name, just like how Americo Vespucci took the name America, Amerique, because the name America did not come from Americo Vespucci. No, it came from Nicaragua. It came from, South America, and they were a tribe of people that were called the Amerique. So he took the name and said he discovered and he created the name. No, he didn't. America, the name belongs to us. And there's only one American. It is us. We are not Black Americans. We are the only Americans. Everybody else are United States citizens and natives. Let's get the record straight. American is a race of people. We are a distinct race of people. Okay? All right. Let us read. From 1692, Salem witch hunt records. We know Tituba was the Indian servant of Miss Samuel Paris, or Paris, the minister of Salem village. But we know very little about her life and her background. When she was born, when was she born and where did she come from before being accused or interrogated and jailed as a witch? Although called a servant, Tituba probably lived in a perpetual servitude, just like how the Lord in the Bible teaches that it's okay to be a slave into perpetuity. All right, it's in the Bible. But anyway, that's another story. All right, but that's what it is, a lifetime of servitude, a lifetime of enslavement. White slave, it says, while slaves did exist in New England, most were of African descent, not Native American. All right. Now, that's what they want us to think, because you see, why are they always comparing so-called African descended people to Native Americans? That's kind of ironic, if you ask me, because we don't look nothing alike. Nothing alike. But anyway, it says, England, while slaves did exist in England or in New England, most were of African descent, not Native American. Tituba could have been a Wampanoag, a Carib, or an Arawak Indian. Well, hold up. She's a so-called Black woman, but not Native. Let me break that down to y'all. You see, that's what Chief is here for. You feel me? All Native means to be born. So if you're not born in a particular area, and at that time they called, and at that time, remember, they're always identifying the United States as America. Let's make this very clear. The United States is not America. The United States is not even a country in America. The United States is a corporation in America. Okay? May I remind you, each individual state is actually a country. I'm going to repeat that. Each individual state is a country. So if you were from California, New York, Massachusetts, whatever state that you were from, that was your country of citizenship. Until, of course, the countries came together to form the Union. But they were individual countries. They are still individual countries. That's why each of them have their own constitution and they have a governor, because back then the countries were having governors. Before, of course, we had chiefs and K6 and matriarchs. Once that dwindled down or that ceased to exist, then they started appointing them as governors. Okay, so when you are not Native American, it just means that you are not born in the United States. And I'm talking about in regards to this young lady, but obviously she was an American Indian. So how can an American Indian not be Native? Because all Native means is to be born. Let me break this down for y'all. That's all it means, to be born. Even when we look at the term indigenous, indigenous has two meanings: origin and born. And I've, of course, explained that in videos before. Let us proceed. Tituba could have been a Wampanoag, a Carib, or an Arawak Indian, which scholars have debated for years. Her foreignness within her small community went beyond her ethnic background, though. In court, Tituba refers to her mistress in her own country, implying that she was born outside of the 13 colonies, so therefore she was not native to the United States, but she was an American Indian of the Americas. Oh my goodness. I don't know if they're ready for this, Chief, but drop it like it's hot. Let's go. The most in-depth study, Tituba, Reluctant Witch of Salem, or Salem, by Elaine Breslau, claims Tituba was an Arawak Indian kidnapped from Dutch settlement in South America and brought to Barbados. Haven't I always taught y'all that this whole slave trade is a lie? Because what they was doing was taking our people from one place of the Americas and sending them to another place. Well, here's more proof. And because the term Africa meant enslaved or black or servant, the moment you were enslaved, you became an African. What's going on, Cheryl Neal? Welcome to the bill. You dig? I don't know if y'all ready for this hot sauce, but I'm gonna drop it. I'm gonna drop it like it's hot. All right. I'm gonna read that again. Okay, where we at? Tituba was an Arawak Indian kidnapped from Dutch settlement in South America and brought to Barbados. And we're talking about in the 1600s. So she was taken from South America and brought to Barbados. That means that her people was in South America way before 1692. All right. Based on the etymology of her name, it could be plausible. But that scenario and the name also could apply to multiple people instead of suggesting Tituba absorbed an amalgam of cultural influences in Barbados. Breslau creates a captive story that not only offends Tituba, but has the young Indian girl living with an African family. To tie the pieces together, Breslau finds a 1776 plantation list of Negroes that places Tituba with the boys and girls. Now, hold up for a second, though. Hold up for a second. She was a so-called black woman, but she was not called a Negro. She was called what? An American Indian girl. So who are the American Indians? Ooh, this is beautiful, man. I tell you, reading is fun for the mentals, man. Let's go. Suggesting an age range and providing white owners with possible connections to Samuel Parris. As genealogists, we learn that even if the name is the same, we still need to connect the 1692 Tituba with early documents, and that cannot be done conclusively. Like many slaves, we may never know her parents, her birthplace, or her age, though we can summarize or surmise, pardon me, some details based on the life of Tituba's owner, Samuel Paris. So if you cannot determine and you have limited resources to prove a slave's genealogy or ancestry, how are you going to tell us we came from Africa? All right. We're going to go, let me see. Qualities of a servant. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this. You could look this up yourself. All right. Because I'm not going to read the entire thing here. Let me do other names. I'm going to read here. It says, after weeks of hysterical outbursts, fits, and twitches from the two girls, Samuel Paris gave up on Cotton Matthews' prescribed prayers and fasting, pushing instead for names of those who had bewitched the children. It's not surprising whose names were on the list: the outcasts and the outsiders, including Tituba, the overworked Indian servant. You see, I want to keep going back to that term, Indian servant from Barbados. These women didn't fit in polite Christian society with their cursing, improvised Sarah Good, their lack of church attendance, bedridden Sarah Osborne, their otherness Indian servant Tituba. You see, I have to keep going back to that, but I'm going to leave that alone. But you could look up the story yourself. As a matter of fact, I will put the link in the description for you. All right, and you could go ahead and read the full article. But let me read this last paragraph. Probably after being physically coerced by Samuel Paris, Tituba confessed or confesses to being a witch before the magistrate, but not to the occult practices like fortune tellers or the Caribbean voodoo. You see, voodoo did not come from Africa. See, they got y'all twisted. Voodoo is an American Indian culture that was taken into Africa because South America gave Africa civilization. The first pyramid in Africa, the pyramid of Khufu, was a gift to the Africans from South Americans. Yeah, I want all the details and the facts. Go read my book, Genesis History Evaluation. When I'm done with the video, I will show you this on the website. All right. What we're going to do, we're going to go to another link. And we're going to read the same story, but from a different perspective, a different source. All right. Let us go. Give me 1 second. Let me present this. We are going to go to the History Channel. Okay, the History Channel. Let the screen populate. Here we go. Okay, the mysteries, the mysterious enslaved woman who sparked Salem's witch hunt. Tituba has become a legend, but she was all too easy a scapegoat. All right, here she is, an indigenous woman. I am blind now, I cannot see. So ended the court appearance of the woman who kicked off the Salem witchcraft trials. Tituba was an enslaved woman who was the first to be accused of witchcraft in Salem. She had just given some of the history's most explosive testimony, a convoluted and reverting tale of witches' coven, a devil's book, an evil animal, and spirits that seem to explain away the odd symptoms that overtook, a group of Salem girls in 1692. But what do we really know about the woman whose testimony sparked Salem's witch hunt? Tituba's story is as convoluted and potentially fictitious as any other part of Salem witch trials, even during the events of the 1690s, which led to 20 deaths. legends and rumors were common. And mind you, all these 20 deaths were women of color. Okay? It's hard to untangle them from a distance. And all historians know for sure about Tituba comes from the court testimony that she gave during the infamous trials. So there is documented information that you could actually go to the courts and pull up to show that this actually happened and this woman actually existed and this woman is who they say she was in regards to being an American Indian woman. All right, let's read some more. That was in Boston, Massachusetts. What is certain is that Tituba was a woman of color. All right, a woman of color, and likely an indigenous Central American who was an enslaved worker in the house of Reverend Samuel Parris, Salem's Puritan minister. Okay? But hold up for us. But hold up, though. That was in the early 1600s. I thought we came from Africa. Don't let them fool you. They lied. At the time, slavery in the colonies was on the rise, and the West Indies was rapidly becoming Europe's most important center for the slave trade. Reverend Samuel Parris bought Tituba in Barbados, where she had been enslaved since her capture during childhood. All right. He brought her to Massachusetts in 1680. When she was a teenager. So we are talking about, she probably was born in, let me see, she was a teenager in 1680. So I would say 1660 something. 1660 something. But they knew she was indigenous. They knew she was an American Indian. And she came from Barbados. And that's why I told you that's what they were doing. Taking our people from different parts of the islands, bringing them into the U.S., taking the people from the U.S. and bringing them into the islands. Okay? At some point, she's thought to have married another enslaved man named John Indian. Well, hold up. John Indian. I thought all the slaves were from Africa. How is that his name was John Indian or Indian John? And she had a daughter, Violet. Don't let them fool you with the names that we have. The names that we have did not come from those slave masters. Those are our names. You dig? They took our names. I'm just going to read a little more, and then we're going to call it a wrap. Tituba cared for the Parris children, and Parris's daughter and her niece were among the first girls who began showing strange symptoms in 1692. The girls had been playing a fortune-telling game that involved dropping an egg white into a glass of water. Supposedly, the form the egg white took in the water could help predict whom the girls would marry and show shapes of their future lives. After the girls saw a coffin in one of the glasses, they began barking like dogs, babbling and crying hysterically. Though she apparently had nothing to do with the girls' attempts at the fortune-telling, a grave sin in the Puritan religion, but of course, having slaves is not a sin, but fortune-telling is a sin. You see the hypocrisy of religion? Wow. I'm just letting y'all know. You see, he was a pastor, and it was a sin for fortune telling. But hold up. When you tell people that Jesus could do this for you, and you will be this and you will be that, isn't that fortune telling? No, you see, when it comes to religion, no, it's not called that. It's called prophecies. But anyway, let us proceed. She baked a witch cake from rye meal and urine and fed it to the girls. Parris, who had already begun praying and fasting in an attempt to cure the girls of what? he saw as a possession became incensed when he heard Tituba had fed them the cake. He beat her in an attempt to get her to confess that witchcraft was the reason behind the girl's increasingly odd behavior. So you see, she was coerced into confessing that she was a witch. All right? Tituba did confess, and they and embellished her confession with an embroidered tale of how she had been told to serve the devil. She and her girls rode on sticks. They confessed, and a black dog told her to hurt the children. You see that? How they take our culture and they twist it to make it evil because they fear what they can't comprehend. This was enough to spark a hysteria in Salem. Tituba was formally accused of witchcraft, and 2 other women were accused and arrested along with her. She could not have expected to be accused, writes historian Stacy Sheff. For Smithsonian, New England witches were traditionally marginals, outliers, and deviants. Cantankerous skulls and choleric foot stompers. They were not people of color. I'm trying to figure out what does that mean. Outlanders, deviant, and killed and scolded foot stompers. They were not people of color. Anyway, read it for yourself. See what you get out of that. I'm not going to hurt my head right now. However, it was all too easy to scapegoat people of color and marginal members of society. Oh, I get it now. I get it now. They're saying that based on this on Stacy Sheff for the Smithsonian, New England witches were traditionally marginals, outliers, and deviants, cantankerous skulls, and choleric foot stampers. But they're saying that that wasn't the people of color. They were not the people of color. Okay. However, it was easier to scapegoat the people of color. As usual, it's easier to make us scapegoats. You feel me? But anyway, the women became targets and accused, and they had to go to court, etc., etc., etc. But the main point of sharing this with you, you know, of course, is not, you know, you know who the witches of Salem were, but it was to show again evidence and proof that we were and we are the people that were called the American Indians. All right, so I'm about to conclude this video. Just wanted to come and share that bit of information with y'all. Do me a favor. Hey, man, listen, go ahead and go to the website. And let me go to the website and show you the books. And go ahead, man, and get your copies of the book, of the books on the website. The website is mynijibooks.com. Okay, I'll get a copy of that link and put it in the description for y'all. Go ahead and support the books, man. All right, and the books, you know, even if some of them, you know, it's fantasy and fiction, I'm putting a lot of jewels in there, man. Like for real, for real. All right, a lot of jewels. Okay, let me go ahead and see if I can find that for you. Here we are. So you go to mynijibooks.com, and then you could scroll down, and you'll see all the books I have coming soon. Okay, some books I have coming soon. Some of them I already have. But let me show you the ones that I already have in stock. Okay. Of course, you know, Genesis to Reevaluation, the evolution of hip hop, definitely a must have. I'm taking you back to the very inception of hip hop, you know, the culture, who started it, you know what I'm saying? Taking you back to the breakdancing days, the graffiti days, and the transition of hip hop and how it changed and what needs to happen. All right. Of course, newsflash, everyone's a slave unless. We also have this one right here. This is called The Ghost versus the Spirit, the Internal Battle. I mean, powerful, powerful, powerful. You definitely want to get that. Also, this is what would happen, or what would you do if the earth was under attack. I mean, fantasy but action packed. Also, I have Fury in the Abyss, just books depicting, us being indigenous, you know what I'm saying? The stories are revolved around that, and I'm dropping jewels in those books, even if again it's fantasy and fiction, but I'm dropping some real stories in there, you know what I mean? So those are the books that I have in stock right now. But other books that I wrote, The Sun Be Us. All right, The Sun Be Us is about a family who activates their power from the sun, and the children, find out their gifts. But I'm dropping some jewels in there, man. I'm telling y'all, definitely want to check that out. What else? What else? What else? Another one, Antarctica. What lies behind the ice walls of Antarctica? That one right there. I'm telling you, man. You definitely want to get that as well. Okay, diving into the inners of Antarctica, and it's a beautiful thing. So I'm working on another book right now, like the final chapter, the Revelation. I'm breaking down Genesis, so that will be ready shortly, and it's going to be on the website. You feel me? But so I want to thank y'all once again for being a part of the build. Have yourself an amazing continuation, and we will talk soon, man. Continue to be good to each other, love each other. Like I said in the video earlier, learn to forgive yourself first for all your past transgressions. All right, whatever it is, learn to forgive yourself so you're able to forgive others and move on. It is time for us to unite, collaborate. You feel me? Become the one that we came from, because we came from the one. The all is the one, and we happen to be individualized in these bodies. That's why we are called individuals. Individuals. We are divided inward. All right. That's why we are called individed from the all. But therefore, we are going back to that oneness. All right. So we have to step back into our true selves and realize that we are just reflections of each other. You feel me? All right. So enjoy your 24. And I'm sending much love, high vibrations, and positive energy. And we'll talk soon. Take care. Don't forget to go to the website and check out the books. All right. Or also go to the Facebook page, the I Am Frequency. The I Am Frequency. Look it up on Facebook. You dig? And go ahead and follow, subscribe, and we'll talk soon. Take care.